Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I am definitely ready for the end of winter and the start of spring. This cold, damp weather, I've had enough. Now, in my mind, if you live in the UK, one thing that really symbolises that transition from winter to spring is the first snowdrops of the year. So today, I've come to Plessy Woods Country Park in South Northumberland, and we're going to go on a snowdrop hunt, and we're going to try and do some creative wildflower photography. So what do I mean by creative wildflower photography? Well, basically, I'm going to be using artificial light. That's essentially what it means. And I'm going to do one of my favourite techniques, which I've covered numerous times, so I'm not going to go too much into that one, but I'm going to be using a flash for that. And I'm also going to be using something a little bit more specialist for macro photography, and which I won't talk about too much now, but yeah, it's going to be the first time I'm using this new lighting system. I'm sort of quite excited about trying it out. Finally! Snowdrops. Cool. I was really beginning to lose hope. I've been walking around for a good 15-20 minutes and there hasn't been a snowdrop in sight, but I was high up on the banks and such, so I've dropped down nearer to the river, and I was actually doing a circle back to the car park. I was thinking, I thought perhaps there might be something closer to the river, and it looks like that gamble may have paid off. Now it's just a case of finding the perfect clump to photograph. I think this is probably one of the hardest parts of flower photography, is actually just finding the right subject in the right location. Like for example here, these clumps, they're quite nice, but it's quite busy around it. So what I'm ideally trying to find is something that's nice and clear to try and create a nice clean backdrop, because I think really the backdrop is always the key. Right, I think I found my subject, and I think these two snowdrops together are a perfect example of why you have to find a nice clean backdrop, because basically the river's right behind, which means that when I trigger the flash, because I'm going to use an off-camera flash here, it means there's no chance of any trees or anything behind picking up the light and effectively spoiling my backdrop. Now I'm using the little K&F tabletop tripod, which I've reviewed before. I'll leave a link in the description to it. Great little tripod, invaluable for this sort of work. Now, if you remember from my review of this, I did complain about the fact that when you tried to push it down straight like that the little ridge on it meant it was hitting this base here. It meant you couldn't get it straight, looking straight down. So what I've done is I've changed the Arca clamp on it, and now it's a lot more flexible. So yeah, I think that was a nice, easy adaptation of it to make it a little bit more versatile. It wasn't that it was bad before, but it's just every little bit helps. Now I did originally set up a shot over there, which was with a single snowdrop, but I think in this case, I think two is working a lot nicer. Now camera wise, I'm using obviously the Olympus OM1, and I'm using just the kit lens that came with it, so the 12-40 2.8 Mark II lens, which focuses, as you can see, ridiculously close. So yeah, I think it's an amazingly versatile lens, and I think if you're buying this body, probably for 90% of whatever you want to shoot, you could get away with just using this lens. Right, I'm going to go through the evolution of this photo. First of all, put my glasses on. I've set the ISO to base ISO, I've turned off in-body image stabilisation, I've made sure that there's no sort of live ND feature on or anything. I'm going to try to aperture priority first of all, and I am going to go to an aperture priority of F. Well, I'm just going to do 2.8 simply because the flower's moving. So I'm now going to turn on the self timer. That's taking 3 shots. Actually, that could work quite nice with this. So I'll put that shot up on the screen for you as I'm taking it, so you can get an idea what's happening. Now I'm going to go to manual. I am going to go for 1/60th of a second, which I think is the flash sync. I'm going to try that. Take that shot. As you can see, that's pretty dark. Now we get out the humble flash. If you've watched this channel for a while, you know exactly what I'm doing now. But I think it's always nice to share it again, because I think it's, well, it's one of my favourite techniques. So I think it's nice to actually, I think it's one of the most creative things we can do as photographers. Doesn't need expensive gear, just needs a bit of imagination. So we'll take that shot again, and theoretically it should look pretty much the same because no flash is firing. And now I'm going to drop this down to 1/4 power, maybe too strong. Oh, and I think the last one's totally nailed it. I'm going to check the histogram. That's simple, guys. That was it. You saw me do it. That was all in real time. Here's the shot. It never fails to amaze me just how creative you can get with one single flash and one camera. Now, in case you're wondering what I was doing, because 3 shots went off, basically this is set up to take 3 shots in a row. So you can set on self, I think the idea is, so if you set the self timer up and if you're taking photos with you and the kids or something, and the kids are inevitably looking in totally opposite directions or pulling faces, then perhaps in those 3 shots you may get one that's okay. But what I did, as you saw, was as I took the shot, I changed the flash angle. So I took one there, one there, one there. Now I'll put the 3 shots all up together now so you can see them. Now the last one for me was right, and admittedly it's very rare that I get it spot on straight away, but definitely the third one was the right angle. Now I totally guessed the flash power, but in this situation, I got it right. I think this is something that just comes with experience. But, you know, if you want to do this technique, just remember, ultimately, you've got to set up your camera so you can get a totally black shot, then just put your flash on and fill light into it. Now, I mentioned at the start of this video that I'm going to be trying out a different lighting technique. And this one's actually going to be continuous LED light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find another clump where I can have a play around, get a little bit creative with what we're doing, and I'll talk to you about what these lights are and what they can actually do. So I've got my shot set up, and this time I think it's a lot more of a natural portrait of a single snowdrop with nice out of focus snowdrops behind. Now I'm not planning to use off-camera flash on this shot because I don't want to kill the background. Actually, the background is an important part of the photo. But what I am going to use is some continuous LED lighting. And I'm going to be using this system which has been sent to me by Adaptalux. Now, a full disclaimer before I start. This gear was sent to me for free. Now, this video is not a review. I'm not going to give any opinions on it at this stage. I will do a review probably a few videos down the line. I need to try it out properly. This is literally a first look of me putting it on the camera for the very first time and seeing what I can actually do with it, seeing how versatile it is. Now, just in case you're wondering what it is, essentially, the little lamps, like so. You see those? Which slot into this control unit. And now, lo and behold, we have light. Let there be light. And we have 2 lights. So now we can position these where we want. And my chain of thought on this one is I'm going to put them around my flower at the front of the shot. sort of light the flower up and sort of keep the background a bit darker. Now, of course, the bonus of this will be that, first of all, a bit more lighting means that there's less chance of any movement because there's going to be more lighting, so the shutter speed is going to be a little bit faster, which means there's less chance of any movement from the wind. And secondly, obviously what that will also mean is that the backdrop will go a little bit darker, which means we can sort of essentially just light the flower at the front to just pop it out a little bit. That's the idea. Now, it does come with these little nifty little diffusers. How cool are those? Now, you can adjust the power to make them brighter or dimmer, of course. It has an app actually on your phone which you can use to control, but I'm going to try and bimble through using the controls on the top. As I say, it's the first time of using it. This is not a review. This is me actually trying to see if it's of any use to me out in the field. And don't worry, guys, if I don't think it's of use to me, or if I don't think it's going to be of use to you, I'm not going to sort of endorse the product as such. So yeah, this is a first look, but let's get it on the camera and let's see what difference it actually makes. Right, so I said I was going to get it on the camera, but I think on this occasion, I think I may even just try and handhold it around like that if it works. As you can see, that gives you amazing control over where this light's falling. In fact, I'm going to take the shot without and with. As I say, this is a first look, so by no means take this as a review. This is me just seeing what we can do with a bit of continuous LED light and seeing if it can fit into my workflow, this sort of stuff. Now, I love the flexibility of the arms. That is fantastic. You know, I'm getting that right underneath. And now I need to get that. In fact, I'm almost going to try and bring this one. I hope you can see this. So what I'm doing, I've got this one right under the flower. I'm now going to bring this one right under. This is amazing flexibility of light. So really the only problem here is going to be the photographer, not the lighting situation. I think these lights, I could see them being really good for sort of mushrooms and things like that, you know, where you can get underneath and light it up so they sort of almost glow. I think they'd be really cool for that. I'll bring the exposure compensation down just a fraction to make up for this light. And I think my last thing I'm going to do on this shot is, because I want the light at the front, the flower at the front to be almost the star with these behind doing a supplementary roll, is I'm going to bounce, using the humble reflector, bounce some light back down onto it. Now, oh guys, I do think those actually really worked. I think the combination of the lights lighting up and the reflector bouncing golden light back down, I think it's creating a nice little shot. And as such, I'm going to put it on the screen for you now. Right, for my final shot, the rain's coming, which is a shame. It wasn't supposed to rain today. Plonk the lights back on. Technical description. I love the mechanism of you just literally just flip it on, clip it in, get light. Nice and wide on this one, really. I think because of the rain, I'm not going to get too worried about it. Now, included in the pack are some little pieces of cardboard. Now, I'm not convinced about this coloured card idea, but I'm going to try it. And this is where I'm totally proved wrong, isn't it? I'm quite pleased that my camera's so waterproof. I think, guys, this might be as creative as we're getting for one day. Yeah, I'll quickly pack the stuff away, and while I'm doing that, I'll put the shot up on the screen for you. Of course it started raining just as I was finishing off that shot. Had to, didn't it? I think actually the backdrop looked quite nice. I would have liked a bit more time to play around it, but as I say, this video is not about coming out and reviewing the Adaptalux macro light system. It's not about that at all. But it is nice that you can direct it up. That's really cool actually, the fact you can get two lights so close and up, and then the reflector above. I think on the second shot, I think that worked out really nice. So I'm looking forward to trying these lights out in earnest, giving them a proper blast as we go into spring, get the macro lens out, see what we can do. I think definitely it looks a really nice piece of kit. I need to look into more what it can actually achieve. As I say, it does come with an iPhone app. I presume it comes with an Android app as well, which can adjust the power. It also comes with two different, I've also got two other arms, which are two coloured arms. And first of all, I thought that might be a bit gimmicky, but after seeing the last shot when I used the piece of coloured card behind, which I think, hopefully, has come out quite nice, then perhaps it's not so gimmicky at all. Time will tell. We'll find it really over the next few months of spring, and spring, I think, is on its way, finally at last. It has to be, because I've just finished a video about photographing snowdrops. So guys, I think really the whole point of this video has been, as ever, just get creative when you're doing your photography. If you're going out to photographing snowdrops or any wildflower, or any flowers at home to be honest, don't feel like you have to just do the normal standard, put your camera on a tripod or handheld and just take a shot of it. You know, get creative with your lighting. As you saw, using a simple flash, I was able to create a black backdrop and make the whole snowdrop sort of pop out. And then by using continuous light, I could direct it and direct the light and use a sort of reflector to put the light back into different places to again give an almost studio look but out in the field. And finally, just take a piece of card with you to put behind to clear up these mucky backdrops that you may have behind your shot. Anyway guys, on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you next week for another one. Thanks for watching.